Thank you for joining us on another episode of Locked on Bulls. On today's episode, we'll talk about a year ago yesterday, the Bulls signed DeMar DeRozan, the worst free agent signing of last season. We'll talk about Zach Lavine being ranked as the fourth best shooting guard in the NBA by Hoops Hype. And lastly, we'll talk about the best Chicago Bulls free agent signings of all time. All that and more on today's Locked on Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked on Bulls your first listen every day. Locked on Bulls, a member of the Locked on Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. All right, Pat. So we got a list, and we're gonna do this one first because the second two kind of flow better together. Zach Lavine was ranked as the fourth best shooting guard in the NBA by Hoops Hype. How do you feel about that?
See, in the NBA makes it better for me. It makes it more palatable because at first I was like, wait, he's the fourth best shooting guard in the Eastern Conference? No, in the NBA it makes it more palatable. I agree with it. You know what I'm saying? I want to be the homer and be like, he ain't nobody better than him. But I can't in this situation. I'm not mad at it. I feel like when you look at Zach's game, Zach's a top 10 score when he's healthy. Mm-hmm. He's improved his defensive game when he's able to run on that knee and stuff like that, dog. So I feel like there's a lot of potential for Zach Lavine. I will say this, right? Like, I think if you look at the guys above him, when it's put in perspective like this, right? The top 10 list: Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Zach Lavine, and then Anthony Edwards behind him: Bradley Beal, DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Tyrese Maxey, Desmond Bane. I can't say that Zach Lavine is leaps and bounds behind the three guys that are in front of him. Devin Booker, maybe, right? Because I think Devin Booker added so much to his game, especially in that mid-range last season, and became so deadly with it. And I used to always think that they were neck and neck, kind of. But Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah. That's the one that stood out to me. And it's like, Donovan Mitchell is ranked as the second best shooting guard in the NBA?
Yeah, Jaylen Brown should be there, my boy. And Zach Lavine, to me, is a better player than Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
I'm not a Donovan Mitchell guy.
But you know what? I think if they're basing this off, I think they're just doing this based off last season coming into next season. Now, Zach was hurt. A fully healthy Zach Lavine with something to prove. I think we're going to see a great Zach Lavine this season. But to me, I'm not even ranking Donovan Mitchell over Anthony Edwards, brother.
I didn't even think about that. Right? And
I get it. I get it. He's super young. He's only in his second, third season, going in his third season.
Year 3.
But Anthony Edwards, to me, I've said it before, he has to, when the top of the line players start retiring and getting older, Anthony Edwards in the next 5 years is going to be one of the top 3 players in the NBA.
Here's also my question on this. Are we basing this on this guy's going to play the shooting guard position or actual shooting guards, right? Because
I think it's based on playing the shooting guard position. I was going to say,
because DeJounte Murray being on this list confuses the mess out of me.
Yes.
Tyrese Maxey was...
But you know what's weird? So they released their top point guard list, and Tyrese Maxey is ranked as the third best point guard in the NBA, and he's on the shooting guard list.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, dog. I don't know about that.
No, not third. Wait a second. No, John Morant's third. Tyrese Maxey, where do they rank him on this list? I think I may. He's ranked as the 11th best point guard on the point guard list by the same.
I'm not. Here's the thing, right? You kind of have to start doing lists this way because it's actual.
Position.
It's actually how the game is being played, right? Yeah. Like, I'm doing my grades for positions over on the Windy City Bulls, and I did the small forwards yesterday, and it's just 2. It's DeMar and Derrick Jones Jr. and Dalen Terry. I'm not doing rookies though, but and Derrick Jones Jr. But when you really think about it, a lot of the dudes that play shooting guard are playing the 3. A lot of dudes that are playing power forward can play the 3. So, like, there's a lot of guys that are interchangeable. So I'm not mad that they did the list like that where you include them on the point guard and the shooting guard.
Yeah, no. I agree with that they should, because that's just the way that the game's going at this point. But yeah, man, looking at this list, it's a very interesting list, bro.
Do you feel like Zach Lavine has passed up Bradley Beal? That was always the one
Yes,
that Muggs would say in the Eastern Conference, because I always said Zach Lavine is the top 2 shooting guard in the Eastern Conference. He ain't 2. That's still how I feel. I think Zach Lavine is, when healthy, the best shooting guard in the Eastern Conference. But
sure.
Bradley Beal is always the one that Muggs would come back with me on smoke and be like, he can't do what Bradley Beal can do.
I don't believe that.
And they both had trash teams. They were pretty comparable.
Yeah, see, now I think we're getting to see a more look at, like, ever since Bradley Beal hasn't had John Wall next to him, what have the Wizards really done, right? And that makes it comparable to when Lavine didn't have the best staff around him. What did Lavine really do other than put up great numbers? So I think that they're closer than what, because even at one point, I used to say, probably Zach Lavine's first 3 seasons, I was like, I'll swap Zach Lavine for Bradley Beal today and not even worry about it. Now, I'm looking at it like, nah, I think I have Zach Lavine above Bradley Beal easily when he's fully healthy.
I don't know about it easily. It's still tough for me. I like Zach. It's also the homer in me that's like, I'm going to pick Zach Lavine over Bradley Beal. But I also can acknowledge the fact that Bradley Beal is like East Coast CJ McCollum, the guy that also can play a lot of point guard, the guy that also can put up 50 on your head, but also have 10 assists if he needed to, right?
The thing with that you don't have to worry, and this is, again, me removing my homerism, is that the thing you don't have to worry about with Bradley Beal that you do have to worry about with Zach Lavine is like, Bradley Beal's ball handling isn't going to all of a sudden get you a terrible turnover down the stretch, right? Right? like Zach can dribble. Don't get me wrong. He can pull off some moves, but you always get that one thing in a game where he bounced the ball off his foot, and it's just like, bro, like, you're a professional basketball player, fam. How you doing this, man?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't seen one ball handling drill this whole offseason. I'm a little concerned. Zach be losing that mug, bro.
yeah, for sure. Like, and Bradley Beal does have better playmaking decisions down the stretch too. I think when things get a little bit tight, that's why DeMar and Lonzo are on this team, because you want to get the ball out of Zach Lavine's hands where you can trust Bradley Beal in those situations a little bit more.
Devin Booker, best shooting guard in the NBA?
I think he's proved that last season, bro. Before last season, would I have said that? No. Are you going to put Jaylen Brown? Now, if you were making the conversation for Jaylen Brown above him, that's a conversation.
Jaylen Brown's getting wildly disrespected on this list.
It is, and I think like the fact that and the thing is I think, and this, I'm going to say this, and this may take the podcast left. I think it's light skin bias, brother, because when things go wrong with the Boston Celtics, they want to blame Jaylen Brown. They don't blame Jason Tatum like they should, bro. Just think about it.
It's not. I don't want to say it's light skin bias.
That was me being silly. I'm not being serious on the light skin bias. That was me being silly, brother.
But wild thing is the Bulls do it as well. Like if we lose, it's DeMar's fault. It's like, but if we win, Zach was killing it. No, I agree with that statement. That the Jaylen Brown being blamed one. But also, I think the finals kind of put people on a little bit of a different mindset with it, because, like, Jason Tatum just didn't show up for 5 games out of 6.
Okay.
So I think that changed a lot of people's opinions on it. I think Jaylen Brown, to me, I think Jaylen Brown has the best case for best shooting guard in the NBA right now, especially making it to a finals this season, playing pretty well for most of the games, but being the number one guy offensively and defensively. I think Jaylen Brown should lead that team, or be.
Who do you think's the better player, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown? If you had to send one away, which one are you keeping to continue to build your team around?
That's tough.
That's tough, isn't it?
That's tough, because I would say Jaylen Brown, because Jason Tatum's 6'10"?
Yeah.
And can do everything offensively Jaylen Brown can do, but he's 6'10", and that's just much harder to defend. Mm-hmm. But on the defensive end, right, like, I think I'd rather have Jaylen Brown than Jason Tatum. I'd send away. That sounds crazy to say. I'd probably send away Jason Tatum. Because Jaylen Brown can give me the same offensive numbers, and he's going to be a better defender.
And I also think that playing next to Jason Tatum has forced Jaylen Brown to play the 2, because I think, honestly, Jaylen Brown will probably be better at the 3. But, and Jason Tatum's 6'8".
Man. That's a tough conversation. The weird part is, like, this top 10 list, I'm not even mad at it. I'm not mad at the
Wait, I'm mad at one thing. Klay Thompson, 13? 13? You put Tyler Hero and Jordan Poole above Klay Thompson?
Well, see, that answered my question, because I was trying to figure out where the heck Jimmy Butler was, but he's not a shooting guard no more.
Yeah, I guess he's not. Yeah, he's not a shooting guard anymore. Hey, by the way, we got 2 players listed on the top 25 shooting guards as well, because they listed Alex Caruso as number 20.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. Now, what do you think about the fact that Lonzo Ball is not ranked at all amongst the top 20 point guards in the NBA? Do you think Lonzo Ball is a top 20 point guard in the NBA?
I think it's like you said at the beginning. It's based on who was healthy and playing well last season. Lonzo just didn't play last season, so I think that Lonzo Ball when healthy is a top 20 point guard in the NBA. He might be top 10. I mean, you think about it, right? He's bringing the court vision. He's bringing the defense. But did you see the list yesterday of what Lonzo Ball improved his shooting to?
Yes,
from the field?
Bro. Lonzo Ball is
above 40% on every split.
Lonzo Ball is literally has turned himself into one of the best shooters in the NBA. And he doesn't get talked about more because he just doesn't play that many games. If Lonzo Ball's put together a 72, 75 games played season with that type of shooting, people are going to wake up, bro. People are going to completely wake up.
Bro,
Lonzo Ball shooting is ridiculous.
I was confused when I saw it. And the first thing I thought was, and people think that if he's added to this team, that we wouldn't win. We wouldn't have beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Like he's the exact player we needed. I was trying to find it. I don't see it no more. But it was basically catch and shoot above 40%. Corner 3 was almost 50%, 48% from the corner 3.
Shout out to Lonzo Ball for improving his shooting, bro. Having one of the most weird shots ever seen coming into the NBA to turning himself into one of the best shooters in the NBA. But next up, we're going to be talking about the anniversary of DeMar DeRozan signing to the Chicago Bulls. But first, I got to talk to you guys about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, podcasts. They have you covered than ever before. Head to the BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. All right, brother. So yesterday marked the 1-year anniversary of the Chicago Bulls signing the worst free agent signing of last season. DeMar DeRozan, who went on to have statistically his best career in the NBA, king of the fourth, everything that happened last season, bro. Looking at it in retrospect, a year since DeMar DeRozan signed to the Chicago Bulls, has there been this signing is so important to just everything, kind of what the Chicago Bulls are right now, their identity, the mentorship between Ayo Dosunmu, him and Patrick Williams, hopefully he takes Dalen Terry under his wing. I've said it before, the signing of DeMar DeRozan is going to be great for the 3 years we signed him for, but the impact of that is going to be felt for probably the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, to be honest with you.
100%. I agree with you. That's what, I mean, you talk about it, he came in and immediately latched on to Ayo Dosunmu and Patrick Williams and said, hey, we're going to get you guys in here. We're going to start working out. And I mean, listen, the Bulls weren't doing team workouts like this before DeMar got there, right? Like DeMar's the kind of guy that wants to get you in there. Hey, let's get in here and get working early. This is what we're doing. This is how we get to that next level, And now you're talking about a DeMar DeRozan that has a team that at a minimum has some playoff experience, right? That's going to make a difference coming into this season. The Bulls were the best team in the NBA or in the Eastern Conference for a little while, and then got hunted down and ended up being the 6th seed. But now the Bulls know what it feels like to be the hunter and to be the hunted.
Yeah.
All those things are going to make an impact, and DeMar DeRozan coming here absolutely changed the entire landscape for this team. I feel like it's good. I don't know if we win a championship in DeMar's time here, right? But I think that DeMar's culture that he brought here will be such a part of this city that you will have to pay respect to DeMar for turning guys into what they have the ability to become just by coming here.
And it makes, and that's, I think, he's a genuine guy, so I don't want to make it seem like it's disingenuous, but that's why he does understand the importance of taking players like Patrick Williams, Ayo Dosunmu, and hopefully Dalen Terry under his wing, because if he is to win a championship in this Bulls tenure, it can only come by them taking huge leaps and getting them ready as soon as possible, unless the Bulls do quite a big move at the trade deadline the next offseason. But yeah, the culture change, right? AK, Eversley, Billy Donovan, they started that culture change. Yeah. The guys that were here, Zach Lavine, they adopted that culture change. But DeMar DeRozan was the icing on top of that, right? He was the finishing touch. You add your little finishing sauce. That was DeMar DeRozan. He brings everything home as far as the culture change for the Chicago Bulls team. And I think the expectations, the way that players hold themselves, the work ethic that they see a veteran like DeMar DeRozan putting in, and how it's affected his game is going to be something that these guys hopefully learn and they're doing later in their careers as well.
No, yeah, 100%. And I think the biggest thing here is that, right, like it's almost, I look at it kind of like LeBron going to Miami for how Zach Lavine is soaking this thing up, right? And I think that's an important part that a lot of people miss. Sometimes you can be great, and LeBron was great. LeBron was also winning and getting the NBA Finals and stuff like that, but you can be great, but it's still not enough to understand how to close out those big games, how to win those big games, how to get it done in the clutch, right? Like, I think that's something that even Zach Lavine having DeMar DeRozan next to him is going to benefit from greatly, because when you're talking about guys in the clutch being able to make the big bucket, there's nobody better since 2012 than DeMar DeRozan. When you're talking about guys that are going to be able to knock down tough shots, DeMar DeRozan is one of the most efficient players in the NBA with a hand in his face, right? So, like, I think those are things, and just bringing a winning culture to Zach Lavine and him seeing what it takes to have a winning culture, I think that's going to change everything around this Bulls team. And I think, like you said, man, DeMar's effects are going to be here in hope for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, a guy's got to take a leap this year. There's a lot of guys that got to take a big step this season. Patrick Williams is one. I think Ayo Dosunmu taking a step is almost inevitable, because we weren't expecting him to have a step yet.
Yeah. This is true.
So, but I think that it's going to be something that's felt for years to come.
And the way that I look at it too, right, is Dalen Terry. And he's a rookie. He has a lot to prove. I don't want to put too much expectations on him. But when you look at Dalen Terry, is he not like body type, attitude-wise, not like almost a perfect person you think is going to inherit that spot from DeMar DeRozan? He has to prove it. But I'm looking at Dalen Terry, and if DeMar takes him under his wing like he did at Ayo Dosunmu, Dalen Terry is going to be poised to do some amazing things in the NBA.
Where's Dalen from? Dalen got like a Midwest attitude.
He was born in Phoenix, Arizona.
So he's from Arizona.
Yeah, and he went to high school in Arizona as well.
Wasn't expecting that. Went to college in Arizona too.
Yeah,
wasn't expecting that. Not gonna lie to you, I don't know a lot of trash talkers from Arizona. Yeah, you know what I mean, like, I thought he had a little Midwest in him. He should have been here the whole time.
Listen, bro. It's that, and you know him listening to Lil Durk and that, like, he feels like a Chicago player, bro. Like, we're all jokes aside, he feels like a Chicago player.
That's probably what it is. He got Polo G on his iPod.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
Jesus.
Damn, my iPod,
you go
bro?
Back there. My bad. Oh, my bad. I'm old now. My knees hurt.
You just dated yourself, brother. You just
a
dated
little bit.
yourself.
Not as bad as you did in the last podcast.
Oh, I actually dated myself. I gave the date I was born, the year I dated myself. But yeah. Man.
I just love what DeMar brings to this Bulls team. And I mean, listen, you got to talk about him as a top probably 3 free agent signing for the Bulls, probably top 2 free agent signing for the Chicago Bulls.
We'll get into that. Well, that's the next topic, man. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into a nice segue. I feel you.
Nothing has made me look like I can't hoop more than doing that, and I actually can't play basketball.
That just, yeah, bro, that was bad. But to transition into the next topic, the best and biggest free agent signings of Chicago Bulls history. Now, I'm going to end it, as I always do, with some PTSD, but we're going to start it off very positively. So, of course, as we just talked about, we have DeMar DeRozan. We got Carlos Boozer, Paul Gasol, Dennis Rodman, Ron Harper, right? Steve Kerr. We got a lot of great signings in free agent signings in Chicago Bulls history. How do you rank them, Pat?
I would probably say, I mean, you got to say Rodman's one, right? He came in and he immediately had an impact on the court. Bulls meshed with him. Championships were won. I'm going to put Ron Harper too, because I don't think people realize how much of a bucket Ron Harper was. And he came to the Chicago Bulls to essentially be a point guard that wasn't even a point guard. But he was just like, hey, I'm going to just clamp everybody up and y'all do what y'all do.
Now, we listed, I guess we should change it to free agent acquisitions, because technically Rodman was a trade. We traded Will Perdue for Dennis Rodman.
Ooh, then Ron Harper's got to be one, right?
You putting him over DeMar DeRozan?
Yes, because you got to. I mean, he won a ring, and he was a major defensive piece of why you win a ring. Like, of course, Michael Jordan being next to you makes a big difference, but he was a major defensive piece for the Chicago Bulls. So yeah, I got him. I mean, he's one of the best defenders in Bulls history, honestly.
And it's funny how it worked out, right? Because they actually signed Ron Harper as an acquisition after Jordan's retirement. But then because Jordan came back, he took a willing back. Like, so you got a player who was coming in to play a bigger role. But then, of course, because the greatest player of all time came back, he willingly took that back seat, and he was pivotal.
Yeah.
Pivotal in that last three-peat. Absolutely.
I wonder what I would love to see, because they signed him, what, 93?
94.
94? I would love to see what his splits were before Jordan came back and after.
That would be really interesting.
I would love to see, because Ron Harper was a bucket as well. Ron Harper was like a 22, 23 point a game guy. He was a bucket as well.
People forget Ron Harper was also on the Lakers championship teams when Phil Jackson went there in 2020 and 21. So, yeah.
Facts.
I can understand you ranking that.
Well,
especially
2000 and 2001. You said 2020 and 2000.
I said 2000. Oh yeah, 2000.
Hey! I thought you was breaking news right there, brother. I was like, wait a minute, what's Phil doing back? What are you doing here, Phil?
Yeah, 2000 and 2001.
Phil, the triangle don't work without Jordan or Kobe. Stop trying to run it.
Yeah, you gotta have one of those players. All right, so okay. So you got Ron Harper number one. Who's number two?
Ron Harper's one for me. I would say two is probably DeMar DeRozan. And if we talk about just free agent signings,
okay,
two is probably DeMar DeRozan.
Now, if the Bulls win a championship in DeMar's time, does that move him to number one over Ron Harper?
Depends on how big of an impact he had, right? Like when you talk about Ron Harper's impact on those championship teams, Ron Harper had an impact. Like Ron Harper was out there guarding John Stockton. So like. There's now Stockton was still cooking, but he had an impact along the way. If DeMar DeRozan has a big impact on this team, right? And I've said I kind of almost want DeMar to take somewhat of a step back, but still like being a very big part of this team. But yeah, I'd say that he'd be number one. I think he'd be a 22 to 24 point a game guy.
Okay, and then where are we ranking Carlos Boozer in that? Now, and let me. I have to quantify this, because Bulls fans just remember how bad it ended. But I think people forget that first season after we signed Carlos Boozer, he gave us a great season, and we knew what he was, limited defensively. The whole point of that was the offense and defense combination of him and Joe Noah. It worked very well together. Now, we know that Taj Gibson eventually came in and should have been probably starting earlier than what he did, but Carlos Boozer at least gave us, I would say those first two seasons, he gave us really solid seasons. The second half of that second season kind of fell off, but he gave us some solid time here at Chicago Bulls.
Booze wasn't as bad as a lot of people make him out to be. Booze was definitely an excellent scorer. I think it just, by the time we got Booze, it was towards like the end of Booze being Booze. So it was like, you might have paid a little bit of money for a dude that's already past his prime here. You got to put him third, right? I was almost gonna say, like, do we put Ben Wallace third on that mug? Just
you can't put him above Powell. Powell Gasol, even though he only had two full seasons.
Yeah, no, Powell's on there. Yeah.
Yeah, Powell gave us some great time. It wasn't like, and I think he probably would have gave us more for longer if the Bulls didn't completely like fall off the face of the earth. But
yeah, that Powell team. I mean, honestly, like, you're talking about a team that had Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, Pau Gasol, Mike Dunleavy.
It was the Mike Dunleavy season,
and they was, bro, like, they could score. Like, that team was decent, bro. What were they? That was a 55-win team.
Was something that a 55-win team?
Didn't they get like 55 wins one year, something like that?
Let me look at it. His first season was a 50-win team.
His first season was a 50-win team. Oh, then probably not then, because I think that was Jimmy Butler's only 50-win with us.
And then the second season, the Bulls were a 42-win team.
42. So, that's a drop off.
That's a considerable drop.
Solid 500 team.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I don't know, man. Powell's a good one. Did we got a couple playoff runs with Powell?
Yeah. Where you ranking Kerr in there? Another big contributor to the second three-peat. A punch in the face completely got that team on the right.
I would probably put Steve Kerr behind Powell, but above Boozer.
Okay. That's fair.
So what is that, fifth, somewhere in there, right? Because
I lost track of numbers at this point.
I know a lot of people are like gonna be like, how can you put them below? It's like, because when you go back and look on the game by game, like, they weren't using Steve Kerr as much as we think. Like, they were using him for what he was good at, but the NBA didn't really acknowledge that was something that I need to see 10 shots a night of. Like, when you see the 90s clips just rerun in your brain, like, it's like Steve Kerr was always knocking down shots, and it was like, nah, he just knocked down the really big ones.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, now for the PTSD portion of it. Two Bulls free agent signings that I think hurt the team more than helped the team. Number one is Dwayne Wade. We paid that man $80 million to basically do a long-term recruiting of Jimmy Butler to the Miami Heat. That's basically all that was.
And then got Cristiano Felicio paid just off of that pick and roll.
Yeah, off that pick and roll. Like, a lot of bad things came from Dwayne Wade signing to the Chicago Bulls.
I didn't know we were doing one of the worst as well. That was a bad one. Jabari Parker.
Oh. It was only one full season with the Bulls, right? And then we moved on from
that was probably the worst one, because it was like, bro, don't do this to us. Like, don't bring back the guy that, like, we love here in Chicago because he's from here and we watched him hoop growing up.
Bro, he didn't even make it a full season with the Chicago. I didn't think so. We traded him. He only played 39 games with us before we traded him to the Washington Wizards.
Wasn't he hurt for a little while too?
He was hurt for a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say that about any point in his career. He was hurt for a little while.
No. Now that's tough. Yeah, he was hurt for a little while. Yeah, I remember that.
The most games he ever played in the season was 76, which we've said that's solid. That's basically a full season. Other than that, 25 his rookie year, 51 his third year, 31 his fourth year. He played overall, that would have been 64 games in 18-19 between the Bulls and the Wizards. Then 41 games in 20, like, bro, less than 20 games in 2021. Like, yeah, Jabari Parker was never healthy.
He basically wasn't a Bull.
39 games, we're not counting you as a Bull, brother.
If you play less than 50 games, you're not a Bull. Otto Porter, not a Bull.
Otto Porter,
he was there for 3 seasons.
He was there for 3 seasons and didn't play that many. That's crazy, bro. Yeah, Jabari Parker. And then so I'm of two minds with the Ben Wallace, right? Because Ben Wallace, 2 seasons, only one full season with the Chicago Bulls. But that first season, we don't sweep Miami if it's not for Ben Wallace being a Chicago Bull that season. Yeah. Because what he did to Shaq in that playoff series was criminal. Let me be clear here. It was criminal. He robbed that man. And then the following...
The weird part with Ben Wallace is, right, like, he he signed here. The Bulls wanted him, and then like they never treated him like he was the guy, the level of player that he was.
Well, remember he said he signed with the Chicago Bulls because he wanted to be utilized in the offense more because they weren't using him in the offense at all in Detroit. And then he came here and they were like, yeah, we know we told you were going to get some offense, but no, we need you to block shots and rebound the ball and pass a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember he took a mid-range shot. It was early in that season. And literally the announcer, and he made it. And the announcer was like, he came to Chicago because he wanted to play more offense, and look at him. And then I don't think he took another mid-range shot the rest of the season.
Hey, listen, Ben was that was a weird time because like I loved Ben his entire time here.
Uh-huh.
But the Bulls didn't. Like they just like I feel like day one that he was here, they had beef with Ben Wallace, and Ben Wallace had beef with them. And then Joakim Noah called him out, and that was pretty much the end of it.
And I remember Joakim Noah was like, why would I call out the strongest player in the NBA? And then when Ben Wallace was finally gone, it was like, yeah, Joe, you called him out.
He called him out. He called him out. Yeah, he called him out. No. He definitely was like, because what was it? He was like, he basically said, like, if y'all don't want to play, go home. Like, or something like that. And Moses was like, he talking to Ben Wallace?
Listen, hey, Ben, we want you, man. But that fro, we don't want you to really wear that headband. It got to go.
Bro, like they was trying to be the Yankees out here.
Bro. And then the Yankees can do that, guess what? Because they usually win. Not lately. But the Bulls wasn't winning crap. Like, come on, fam.
Well, yeah. But it wasn't that far removed. I mean, that was what, 2008?
2006.
2006? Yeah, it had only been like 7 years. That wasn't that. Remember that? Remember when it had only been 7 years since we had won an NBA championship? Man, I remember that. Why'd you take us down this path, Haize?
Bro,
you always giving us PTSD on this podcast.
PTSD yet again, brother. All right, let's end it on something positive, bro. Let's end it on something positive. I don't know what. I have no idea when I started saying that.
You got nothing positive to end it on? Hey, bro. Hey, the life of a Chicago sports fan is tough. That tells you right there, man. Let's end it on something positive. All right, what we ended it on? I don't know. Hey, man, I'll tell you this right now.
All right.
I got nothing. So you can follow me on everything at Locked On Bulls. Follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls. I got nothing, bro. I was like,
which Chicago rookie has the best season? Velus Jones Jr. or Dalen Terry?
Ooh, that's not a bad one. I'm going to go Velus Jones, honestly. Because I think Velus Jones will end up with more playing time because I'm expecting a healthy season from the Chicago Bulls. Boom! Positivity.
There you go. Positivity. Go ahead. Send us home, bro.
Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. You can follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls. Appreciate y'all for putting up with our madness in this mug, man.
You can follow me at CEO Haize, CEO Haize. And thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen. Now for your second listen, go and check on Locked On NBA, where our very own Pat the Designer is over there once a week. You get all the breakdowns, the latest news and rumors from the Locked On experts in 30 minutes or less. They're available wherever you get your podcast. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls, and we out this mug. Peace, y'all.